alongside Flett from Golden Skate, and I'm joined by Coach Bruno Marcotte, coach to Meagan Duhamel and Radford, two-time world champions, and just won their third Skate Canada International title here in Mississauga at Skate Canada. Thanks for chatting with us today.
Hey, my pleasure, as always.
So Bruno, I mean, huge win last year, obviously in Boston.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what it was like to prepare? I mean, last season was so up and down for Meagan and Eric, in comparison to 2015, where they just dominated, bulldozed all the way through. Can you talk about what it was like, training running up to Boston and how Boston unfolded?
Well, I think the best way to explain that is if I compare a little bit to the year before. The year before, the long program, the short program worked out perfectly right away. First competition, the order elements, the music, they felt right from the beginning. So there was never any really work to it or major modification to do in the program. So it was a smooth ride from the first summer competition to Worlds. So that was very comfortable. Now, last year, that's a different story. They didn't feel comfortable with the long really until for continents. But they didn't compete at 4 continents, sadly, because of the food poisoning. But, I mean, we were trying to find the right formula. We added, some musical notes into the long to make it a little bit more exciting. I
didn't know you guys did that.
Yeah, we did. We did from nationals to 4 continents and Worlds. We modified the last section of the music to make it a little bit more powerful and the more highlights into the elements. So it was only that was really hard, number one. And number two, there's the Russians coming back, the 2 teams, the new Leon and Bruno. So I think at the beginning of the year there was too much distraction. And then leading up to Worlds, I would say leading up to 4 continents, it was back to the year before, back to be aware of what other people do. Don't get me wrong, but more back focusing on themselves and what they can do to make themselves better. And you know what, Meagan was flat out honest. They could be from 1st to 6th place at the short because the field was so strong last year and so even, in my opinion. And everybody brought different strength. Everybody brought different things, to the table. So, I mean, but again, when we got there, first practice, Meagan and Eric just gave me a vibe. Yes, once we got to Boston, the first practice, I'm like, you know what? That was the first time that I felt like the year before. I didn't know where they're going to end up, but I was pretty confident that they were going to do 2 good programs.
Okay. It was such an unusual year as well because there were these new uncertain teams.
Yeah.
And no one met before Boston.
No.
I mean, everybody was on a different path, apart from the Grand Prix final when they finally went head-to-head with Clemon and Stolbova and Clemon, rather.
Yeah.
But, Velistar and Trankov, they never got that head-to-head, which we were all looking forward to at NHK.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't go up against Savchenko and Lasso because they didn't get registered or licensed or whatever the term is in time earlier in the season.
Yeah.
That was so unusual.
Yeah.
Would they have preferred in hindsight to be able to have gone up against these teams to see how the judges would rank them and where they can improve?
I don't think it would have made a difference.
Okay.
I mean, Meagan and Eric have been known to, the bigger the challenge is, the better they perform. So would have that made them ready sooner? Maybe, but looking back, I don't think so. I think it was more about them figuring out the proper formula with the programs, about them, figure out the proper energy and the proper focus. I don't know, it's maybe, but I doubt it.
Okay. There was a lot of talk about this big heart-to-heart conversation that happened after the national championships between Meagan and Eric. Were you part of this meeting as well? And what can you tell us about
I was not part of that. I had a big talk with Eric alone. I had a big talk, with Meagan, maybe. No, for sure. And at the end of the day, I just life, sometimes they throw you a curveball and you don't see it, and not that their life changed a lot, but the wedding, the more shows, the little things like this. And I think for me it was important for them to find themselves as friends again. Not that they were not friends; they've always been great friends, but to be tighter, like to bring the team tighter. Because the objective always been the same, it never changed. But it's really to work with each other, really to work in a same positive environment. Which Eric and Meagan, they're easy to coach because they never fight. They always get along. But I really felt that after this heart-to-heart talk, it was like, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do it together. Let's be strong as a team, and yeah, for sure.
Okay. So fast forwarding then to the off season.
Yeah.
And the triple axel.
Yes.
I understand that they only started doing a single axel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only sort of earlier this year, frankly.
Yeah, actually, when they, let's see, before tours, before Stars on Ice, we started working on single axle.
Right.
And
then they were going after double axle in the tour.
And then we did double axle just before they left, and I went to see them a couple times on tour, and we continued to work on the double axle. And it was a really slow process because it's something that was so unfamiliar for both of them. So
who was first to say, let's give the triple axle?
They were both on the same page for that.
Okay.
They're 30, 31, and the thing that they love to be competitive, but they also love to challenge themselves. And that's what keeps them motivated to come to the rink and to work so hard. So I think that's the one thing is like, where can we gain points? Where can we gain an edge in the short program? Yeah. And the triplets, it's giving them an edge. But other teams are coming now. You see this year side by side the triple loop. You see, with the German, the big twist. So they get a lot of points with that element. So where can we go? And we had a feeling also that Eliano and Bruno would come with the triple axel too. Okay. Like that, I had a strong feeling that was going to happen. So we're like, okay, let's do that.
Has been giving some hints on social media. And of course she did it with Robin.
Exactly. Yeah. So after the tour, then we started to do the triple axel, and I had a really, really good feeling. It's funny, last year we tried the throw quad. I never had a feeling that it was going to really work out. Mm-hmm. She would land it, but like the consistency, it was not that constant. And but the axle, I like the trajectory of it. So I find that for injury-wise, it's a lot safer.
Right. And in terms of adding it to the short program to gain more points,
yeah.
Although the short program in Boston was a big improvement,
yeah.
And I think it was their short program record score
yeah.
at the time.
It was.
Was it frustrating for them to still be behind the Chinese?
Not
at all.
The Chinese
were because the Chinese were only going after side-by-side triple toe loops, but still edged ahead of...
No, not at all, because you know what? We have so much respect, and we really appreciate their quality, and we really enjoy that team. Mm-hmm. So no, not at all. Like, we really expected them to score really high in the short. So no, it was not a shock for us at all.
Okay, and then also in the off season, turning to Seal for the short program, and then Patricia Cass for the long program. What do you think pushed Julie towards these choices in music, or the team as well?
I think as well. I don't want to talk for my sister, but I think. I think we've seen Meagan perform at Stars on Ice, and whenever she does like the group numbers, it's more that type of music, and I think it brings another side of Meagan that we've never seen before.
She looks like a real diva.
She looks,
numbers,
you know what?
A lot of sass that she doesn't, you don't usually see.
Yes, she looks really, really comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's really comfortable for her to do that kind of energy. And when Julie brought the music, at first Meagan was like, "Oh, I don't know," and I'm like, "Oh no, that's gonna work." and the second they start working on it, and then they both fell in love with it, and I think it's very different from what they've done in short programs before, but I think it brings a part of Meagan's personality that I think she's going to be able really to shine doing this program.
Okay, and the long program.
The long, it's Julie had that concept before. She had this in mind, and she wanted to wait for next year to do that concept. But at the same time, she felt so
for the Olympics.
Yeah. But she felt so strong about the concept, and she was in a way scared that other people might jump into that kind of concept. So she said, "You know what? Might as well just do it now,
right.
and then we'll see."
The costuming is also unique this year versus last. So Meagan in a bodysuit, and then in a much softer, sort of more feminine and delicate look in the long program than usual. Yeah. Are you involved in that sort of decision making, or?
No, my sister is. The costume, no, Julia always talks to me before with music concept, but with costume, not really. I really, really trust her, and no, but actually the one piece that started like last year, Meagan just said, "I want a one piece for the shows." And she got a lot of good compliment about it, and she felt really good performing in that. So she goes, "You know what? Let's do it." She looked at Julia. "I want a one piece for next year," and so that's in the short. Well, the long, it goes with the music, the time. Even if it's Patricia Cass, it's a song that was really made famous by what's her name? It's a Piaf, exactly. So it brings us more back in time.
Right. There are so many layers of interesting choreography in the long program. Yeah. I got goosebumps today when the drum beat starts and the two of them start weaving down the ice to set up the side-by-side triple toe loops. Yeah. Do you get moments in practice and in training when you think, this is real, this is quality? I mean, this is a gold mine in terms of this program and the fit for them.
Yeah, I do actually. I do. And if I don't, that's not a good sign.
Sure.
And no, definitely. When they start to work on that program, I really felt something special, and I really feel though the long, not like last year that we're gonna have to struggle to find the proper formula, but I really, really feel it's something that's gonna grow with every competition and with the time that they're going to train. Compete this year.
So speaking of competition, they started at a local competition and then Trophy Finlandia, or Finlandia Trophy. Yeah. So Finlandia Trophy didn't go quite as well.
Ooh.
Reflect on that. Share your observations with us. What happened there?
Well, first of all, if you look back in their history, Eric and Meagan kind of have a pattern. And that local competition, they've been doing that for the last 3 years. And they always perform well there. And usually we do Autumn Classic. And Autumn Classic is never that good. And this year we chose to do Finlandia because Worlds is in Finland this year. So we want to get a feel for the going there, the time change and everything. And again, it was a bit like what Autumn Classic is every year. There was a few challenges. We got to only practice on a North American sized rink while we were there, so we only got to practice on a Olympic sized rink the day of the competition. So, not to be an excuses, but I find that their focus was more trying to figure out the patterns than just their keywords. So there was too much thinking from them involved. So they were I would not say second guessing everything, but definitely over analyzing everything. That was part of it. The other thing is, when you, like I said, every year they do that local competition. They feel comfortable there. They've been going to that same rink and compete for so many years. And then they go there, and there's this really funny energy of not wanting to do a mistake. Instead of accepting not to be perfect, but try to push yourself to be the best that you can be on that day. And it's as even though they've been skating forever, every year they have to relearn and to relive these moments to be able to take it to the next step.
Is that a lesson coming from 2016 from the World Championships in Boston, where they skated so cleanly with a gargantuan score?
Yeah,
that's hard to replicate. Every day.
For sure, it's impossible. I mean, like every time you go and compete, and especially if everything really works out, there's going to be a down phase. Like it happens to everybody, and you have to accept the down phase to be able to rebuild it. And that's what we call peaking, right? You want to rebuild it and down and come back up. But I don't think Finland was a result though from Worlds. It was just a result of 2 brand new programs.
Okay.
And again, like redealing with the stress, redealing with the energy, redealing with the expectation also.
That said, you did some tweaking following Finland coming into this competition in terms of the order of elements, the setup for example, the throw triple axel program. Can you talk about that?
Well, actually, the funny part is whenever I work on the triple axel and whenever I do the programs, I always have my technical eyes. And try to figure out how can we make this element work in the program, and then when I was in the competition, I got more of my judge's eyes. It's a totally different. And so as they were competing, they were setting up the throw. I was like, oh my god, that's not good. That's way too long. That's a no-go. Like the way too much preparation and no rhythm, so I was like, okay, so as soon as they got off the ice, I messaged Julie and Richard. I was like, we gotta do something with that. And then we talked about it, and like
so how did that go over? Because presumably days and hours, weeks are spent putting together, constructing these programs, the choice of music, the sequence of the elements. It's not easy to necessarily turn it inside out.
No.
Though you did it last year, this is the pattern now.
It is. But at the end of the day, it's to get it right.
Sure.
It's not to be stubborn and okay, this is it. And no, it's at the end of the day, you want to get everything right and you want the skaters to feel good. But we came back home, and but having said that, like when you telegraph an element in a long program, not that you want that, but you still have so many other elements, and the program's longer, so you can move on to something else. But in the short program, it's not long enough. There's so little elements that I was at the footwork, and they were doing the death spiral, and I was still thinking about the preparation of the axle. I was like, that's not good. We have to do something about that. And so they came back, they changed it right away, and Julie was totally for it. And then with the steps, it actually gave Eric and Meagan a lot more rhythm going to the throw. And from there, the throws has been so much more consistent in the program with the new steps and with less preparation. So that was great.
Okay. Were there any changes made to the long program as well?
Not yet. Okay. I think right now, I think we feel pretty comfortable with the program. I think, we're going to keep everything the same until Japan, and then we'll see. We hear feedback from judges every time we go out and compete. We hear feedback from our federation. We get but right now I think the feeling of the setup is we're really on the right track.
Okay. One of the neat things that I understand your team does is having Julie at the rink almost weekly or maybe every week. The program it changes and unfolds and is added to over time, as opposed to sort of the traditional approach of spend a week with the choreographer, get the whole program locked down, compete it all year, maybe do a touch-up or two in January, February timing, but that's it. Whereas they have that ongoing sort of relationship with Julie, and it changes a lot. Can you expand on that?
Well, yeah, for sure. Well, the way it works is Julie's at a different rink. Okay. So what the skaters do, they they go and do the programs, and then once or twice a week they go and see Julie. Sometimes it's just for touch up, sometimes it's just to work the energy, sometimes it's just to work the emotion, but there's a work that gets done throughout the year, weekly, on a weekly basis. So like this, yeah, I think that especially with I don't know, with everybody, they feel really comfortable that they can grow the program. Because sometimes, like there's things you think it might work, and instead of scratching the program completely, sometimes it's just a matter of tweaking it. So
okay. Now, the long-term goal is obviously Pyeongchang and the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Meagan even said this week that Finland could be their final World Championships because maybe they won't go to the Worlds next year.
Yeah.
They're so on top of their game
Yeah.
and have taken the sport so far.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's an absolute non-negotiable full stop Olympics, or might they even push beyond that?
I'd be shocked.
You'd be shocked. Okay.
I'd be extremely shocked. I think.
So we need to get our absolute fill of Duhamel Radford in the next sort of 16 months' time until Pyeongchang.
No, I'd be really shocked. I think they've accomplished and they're accomplishing what they always dream of accomplishing. I mean, their life is so. I mean, and they love their life. I mean, but it's a lot of work, and they're not getting any younger. But at the same time,
they don't show it.
No, that's good. That's good. But at the end of the day, they love what they do. But I think they want to do other things too at one point. And like there's younger teams coming and pushing, and it's everybody's time to shine, and then that's okay like this. I think they got a lot from the sport, from watching Lloyd and Isabel, Dave and Jamie, watching like a past champion. I think right now they're giving a lot to the sport, in my opinion. And a lot to do with their training habits, their tenacity, their commitment to never give up. And then they're gonna pass the torch to the younger teams. And there's the great thing right now in Canada, we're looking good. Mm-hmm. I like we have so many. We're strong. We're deep. So I think there's going to be other team ready to take the torch.
Well, Julian and Charlie winning at Skate America.
Yeah.
Lubov and Dylan winning the bronze medal here. Yeah. It's an outstanding field.
Yeah, and Mike and Kirsten and that are really strong tag to 8 at the Worlds last year. So there's many good team that are not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. That they're there, and you know what? A team like Jill and Charlie, like Mike and Kirsten, are pushing Eric and Meagan every day. So also part of the success of Eric and Meagan is having those teams to keep them, light
a fire.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Right.
Bruno, it's so great talking to you and getting these inside scoops on Meagan and Eric and their training. We really appreciate you speaking to us today.
My pleasure.
And best of luck this season, and we look forward to watching.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right.